The Diary of Dr. X, Episode 10. Jesus was an anarchist. So do you want to know what an anarchist is? Do you really? Well, I can tell you something about it. You see, I am an anthropologist, as I've told you, and I've studied it, along with all of the other political systems that have characterized human societies throughout human history. That is what anthropologists like me do. We study things cross-culturally, comparing the characteristics of human society throughout human history and over the entire planet. We are also holistic, just like ecologists, which is why we're friends with them. That is, we study how politics relates to economics, relates to ecology, relates to ideology, relates to the material world. Now, in my discussion of anarchism, you won't hear anything about the bomb-throwing anti-establishment cliché. That is what the corporate media uses to keep people afraid of its reality throughout much of human history. You see, anarchism has a longer history than any other political philosophy, and has also been typical of more human societies in total than any other. It's just that they didn't have writing in those types of societies. I guess they had no need of it. So unlike the corporate media, anthropology contrasts such egalitarian societies or tribal societies with hierarchical or state-level societies such as our own. In the corporate media, as you probably know, the contrast is between left and right. The left is represented as more labor-oriented and associated with socialism and communism, while the right is considered to be more business-oriented and associated with capitalism and fascism. The problem, from a cross-cultural perspective, is that all of these are state-level societies with more similarities than differences. All are bureaucratic, with authorities ordering their underlings around, as is typical of states, transnational corporations, military institutions, and all other centralized authorities. In egalitarian societies, such authority did not exist, quite simply. This is not to say that they had no organization nor any leaders, but the leaders were not rulers. Their organization was bottom-up and democratic rather than top-down and authoritarian. This is what the corporate media attempts to dismiss by equating anarchy with chaos. And yes, social chaos does happen in crisis situations, especially among peoples who are already domesticated to state-level or hierarchical societies. Take Somalia in recent years, for example, and all the piracy taking place off its coast near the Horn of Africa. Good example. But that's not anarchism or egalitarianism. Rather, it is the breakdown of a state-level society. More properly, egalitarianism refers to the type of political system that characterized tribal peoples, such as those of most of North America prior to colonization. Such societies are typically kin-based and treat everyone as a member of the family. There is no property or money, as we understand them in egalitarian societies. Instead, everyone is considered to have an equal right to all of the basic necessities of life. As Karl Marx himself once put it, from each according to ability, to each according to need. Or, in the words of Luther Standing Bear, in his 1933 book, Land of the Spotted Eagle, where he described the practices of his Lakota people, the ones who defeated Custer at the Battle of the Last Stand, and I quote, "The central aim of the Lakota Code was to bring ease and comfort in equal measure to all. There were no weak and no strong individuals from the standpoint of possessing human rights. It was everyone's duty to see that the right of every other person to eat and be clothed was respected, and there was no more question about it than there was about the free and ungoverned use of sunshine, pure air, and the rains with which they bathed their bodies. There were no groups of strength aligned against groups of those weak in power. That's what Standing Bear said. In other words, in egalitarian societies, such as his Lakota people, there were no classes, and there was no property in land. The world and its fruits belonged to everyone, and one's goal in life was the betterment of life and humanity. When lecturing on this topic, I often make reference to the Star Trek universe to get this point across. In particular, I refer to a scene in the movie First Contact, where the Enterprise crew travel back in time to battle the Borg. Second movie, I believe. At one point in that movie, Captain Picard is forced to face down a woman from the past, our future, who has taken his phaser and confronts him with it. She's a black lady and a pretty one, as I recall. When explaining to her the situation in his future, Picard says something along the lines of, "The economics of the future is somewhat different. You see, we have no money. We work to better ourselves and humanity." To which she replies, with a look of incredulity on her face, "What, you mean you don't get paid?" That's right, you don't. Life is not about money in an anarchist society. Money, after all, is a social fiction invented by the state. It's about improving the human condition. John Bodley, anthropologist, suggests that the basic philosophy of egalitarian society is what he calls sapienization. What this refers to is the process of becoming a better or more complete human being. Historically, according to Bodley, state-level societies first supplanted this goal with politicization, or the preeminence of politics and military force in society, like in the Middle Ages in Europe, for example. Our own corporate society has taken it a step further by promoting commercialization, the dominance of money and bankers over political considerations as society's central characteristic. This is the driving force behind current trends toward a global CCCP system, as I've identified it previously. But either money or centralized authority based on the threat of force are anathema to a truly egalitarian or anarchist philosophy. Just ask Gandhi, or Jesus for that matter. Ever wonder why Jesus went on at such great length about treating all men as brothers? Or threw over the money collectors' tables in that synagogue? I'd say Jesus' philosophy was not exactly friendly to the ideas of property and central control. Jesus was an anarchist, you see. Cheers.